I think so. I think I work at a group home, so I take care of other people's children. That's what I do for a day job, and I don't have any facades about that. That's like a big thing that I do. So I know those kids are really into it, and they like to see. I bring my papers and my pages with me, and we'll be on an appointment or something. We're waiting, and I have a deadline. I'll be drawing right there in the lobby, waiting with them. And I don't work digitally. I just work pen and paper and ink. So I can just kind of bring that stuff with me. My biological children, I think that they're inspired by it too, but they don't see me do a lot of this stuff. I wait till they go to bed at night, and then I draw. Family time is family time, and my comics, I have to find time to do that. So like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, I'll go into the studio, and I'll be there until about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning to, kind of get the drawing done.
If they did want to pursue a career in art, would you support them?
I would love it. I would love it, and I wouldn't push them to do what I do. I would push them to do whatever. Drawing with my daughters, my oldest, and she's 5. She is amazing with art, and when I say amazing, I mean she's just slapping stuff around, but there's no fear, and that's the greatest thing, especially when you're a young kiddo. It's just free form expression. It's wherever the line wants to go, however the rainbow is, whatever it is you're doing, that's great. And I try to remember that, because I think a lot of times, especially in comics today, there is definitely a market for the very pretty art. But I think you kind of lose something when you're trying to detail all those muscles and all that little stuff, and what you're losing is just the speed of the comic and the storytelling and the responsibility of moving that story. And so for me, I'm really inspired by the quickness of it all and what kids do as well.
So, what advice would you give to someone who's decided to go the self-publishing route and kind of the way that you started?
I would, a couple things. Number one, I would come up with a vision of whatever your character is, and I would, for me, I made a real clear, conscious decision. A lot of times, especially the Image comics of the 90s, when I first started drawing, there's all these hard to understand backstories and all this complexity. But meanwhile, like I'd read a book like Strangers in Paradise or Cerebus, and it felt like it was really surface. It was the characters are who they are, and I came up with that. I wanted to do a very simple character and put him in these complex situations, not a complex character in simple boom, boom, fight, fight, that's it. No one wants to read that. They want to have a basic character that you don't need to know a lot about, other than, for my case, he's a big blue dude, and he's pretty big, and he will get in a fight if he has to, but he's just trying to do the right thing. So I would do that. And the other thing that I did, and it took me a while to figure this out, my book used to be called Blind Mice, and I changed the title to Ocho. I changed the title to Ocho because I wanted it to be specific to that central character. And I found out after a couple issues, suddenly everyone knew who the character's name was, Ocho. A lot of times people will put out a book and it will be The Great Adventures of the Click Clack Crew or whatever it is. You don't even know the main character, and then you get to a point where maybe there's an image somewhere. Well, how are they going to tag that to that name? I'm not going to remember. It's all about brand recognition and remembering the name. And Ocho is we all know Ocho is number 8 in Spanish. It's a pretty easy thing to remember. It's not hard to pronounce. I think that makes it a lot easier for me to have that brand recognition. And even when I came into the hall yesterday and I was wearing the Ocho mascot, I'm walking and listening to some tunes in my headphones, and people are like, Ocho, Ocho, and that to me means I'm doing my job the right way. I've conveyed what I needed to convey. So that's a big thing. I think brand recognition and name recognition is huge.
So now that you are at this milestone, like you said, 25 issues, is there anything you would have done differently from the beginning?
It's all been a great journey. I I think that I would have maybe called the book Ocho from the very beginning. But I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't make any changes. I'm very happy and understand that for me to do this little business, making mini comics, and I hand collate them and staple them and fold them, it's a very small business, so I don't pay a lot of money to print. That means the proceeds go into my pocket, which goes into that Ocho account, which means a mascot could be made, or t-shirts, or action figures, or whatever it is. So I wouldn't do anything different. I'm really proud of what I've done. It's an accomplishment, 25 issues. I think it's like 500 pages of original artwork. And that's just a drop in the bucket. I'm 40 years old. I still got a lot of storytelling ahead of me, and I can't wait for the future to see what's good.
So you're based in Phoenix,
Phoenix, yes.
Born and raised here?
I was born in Chicago. I was actually born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I lived in the Chicagoland area for most of my life. I moved out here at 22 to start working in the group home. I had just graduated college, and I've been doing that for 18 years, and I've been doing these comics. I pretty much came out in Arizona, and I published my first mini comic in '95 featuring Ocho in it, and that was carried by All About Books and Comics. Mike Banks, who now owns Samurai Comics, was the first person to support me, and I still have a friendship with him today. That's pretty awesome.
Okay, and so besides the heat and the need to stay indoors, what do you think it is about Phoenix that draws such a creative amount of people?
I don't know. There is definitely an allure to Phoenix. I mean, it's like kind of the oasis in the desert, so to speak. And I do feel like there's a great pool of community here for cartoonists and artists. And I mean, look at this convention. I think they're expecting 40,000 people. When this convention first started, I think there were like 8 tables, and I was one of the people there, and there were 8 tables and maybe 500 to 1,000 people. Now they're talking about 40,000 people. This scene, Arizona loves their comics. There's so many comic book stores, so many events going on. Like almost every weekend, there's some kind of event at one of these places. So it is a great thing, and I think Arizona and Phoenix in general, it's that oasis in the desert, so to speak.
Okay, do you have any questions, Greg? No, you're good. I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that was really everything I need. It was
Very
a pleasure
cool.
to meet you.
You guys need anything for like an image, or is this going like a video, or is this
Well,
going?
it's going to go on fanboynation.com.
Yeah.
And I think you have a lot of. Did you get video or footage?
I got video.
Video is going to be something a little different. The Fanboy Nation, there'll be like a little article. I'm sure Rob will.
Bro, don't walk away. Don't walk away.
I'm sure Rob will put. He has some images. And then I'm doing a piece. I'm just covering Comic-Con in general. I will splice some of that in.
Awesome. Cool. No. You don't have to pay for it. It's okay. No.
I'm not even from Canada, and I'm not even from the U.S. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I'm from Canada, and I'm 100% in supporting.
Awesome. Thank you. You want me to sign it?
Yeah, that'd be
All right.
great.
Cool.
Well, this is my first time at a convention. What do you suggest I see or do? Is there anything?
As far as this is,
Like, I just walk up to people and just ask them if they want to interview. It's people friendly here. I want to get some of the people in costumes.
Yeah.
I would try to get. Thank you. I would try to get some of the people in costume, but I know that like there's a lot of heavyweights over here, like Mike Mengel from Hellboy and Mike Allred, who does the Madman comics. Matt Wagner from Mage.
Are they approachable?
Yes.
Just wait till the
This
line
is
dies
not.
down.
Yeah, this is these people. Even the biggest of the biggest here. Comics are kind of like, okay, you're a celebrity in the comic book realm, but when you walk down the street, I don't care who it is, unless it's Stan Lee. And even Stan Lee, I bet you probably a lot of people would look at him, but maybe not know who it is. They wouldn't even care.
They look familiar.
I don't think that there's a lot of ego. I think all that baggage got checked at the door. It's not like comics are selling millions and millions of copies anymore. And now it's much more of an atmosphere of friends and fans and family, and especially conventions getting together and seeing people that you maybe haven't seen since the last convention. So you'll be cool to approach anyone. If anyone is a jerk to you, I mean, you're walking up with a camera, then maybe they shouldn't even be here, you know? All right. Hey, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.